But here's the basic principle I learned from B.F. Skinner. Remember intro? Selection by consequences. We do what we do for the consequences we expect to get or consequences we hope to avoid or escape. So back to motivation. We are motivated to gain positive consequences or avoid negative consequences. We know through research that we feel better, we are happier when we're working for positive consequences. Now, those positive consequences can be extra. Technical word extrinsic, like money, like a reward, but there are natural consequences. That's why students are honed in right on rocket. I say intro, their Skinner box, looking at their smartphones. They're getting natural consequences. You get consequences that happen as a part of the process. That let's say it's an addiction. It's not an addiction. It's controlled by consequences, natural consequences. So back to your point, years ago, those consequences were different that drove our behavior. Today, we have many advantages. I didn't have the smartphones that you had, so my consequences were different years ago. But our behavior changes as a function of consequences. Either extra consequences that people give us, showing somebody gratitude, that's an extra consequence. But it feels good. Thank you, But there are natural consequences that just happen as part of, even when we walk. We're walking and we're seeing that we're moving, we're advancing. Those are natural consequences that keep us going. That's motivation. And we can help people feel better if we give them positive consequences. I don't know that there was a point where we stopped caring. I mean, people care big time today, We had the government shutdown and people were setting up food banks and contributing money to help those folks. So we as humans, we care. But sometimes we're distracted. And perhaps today we have more distractions from interpersonal caring than folks had years ago. The cavemen could sit around a fire, and that was pleasure, man. That was the best we can go. Now we have to get in an airplane and travel across the country to go to a Super Bowl and pay thousands. And see, we have so many more opportunities that sometimes it takes us away from really recognizing where we are. Back to the first part of this discussion. You are on a campus, probably one of the most attractive campuses, nestled in the mountains. And in the springtime, it blows us away. It's just beautiful. Even the snow, however. But sometimes we're so into our own self and our own need to achieve in the classroom, and we understand that we miss those other opportunities.
So it becomes a point where people become too focused on themselves.
Or focus on themselves, or not realizing what's beyond themselves in this environment.
I feel like that, especially like within people our age, where it's such a crucial time where we're developing, I feel like that would actually be something that would slow or even screw up like the development of a person, not physically, but mentally.
Yes, and I think that the conflict we see on newsreels and the lack of truth, what are your values? Have you ever sat back and said, what do I really care about, For me, I don't mind telling you, it's fairness. When I see something as unfair, it hurts me. It bothers me, and I want to make it right. But you said, what is fair? How about integrity? Is integrity, telling the truth, something that's really important? But I reason bring this up is we have distractions now all over the place where people are not telling the truth. Right. You see? So that's taking us away from what we really need to care about, It is about our values. But here's something else, again, back on this campus. We get so into ourselves that we fail to appreciate the bigger picture, systems thinking. Let me tell you a story. I met a lady emailed me not too long ago, and I was telling her about the Actively Caring movement and about the research behind it. And she sent me an email, and she said, I'm the new president of your fan club. Whew, that hit me. And so all of a sudden I started communicating with her. To make a long story short, she and her husband live in California. They came here to visit because they wanted to know more about the movement and happiness and self-transcendence. But here's her story. She's a very wealthy lawyer. She and her husband, corporate lawyers, 18 years a lawyer, lots of money. She's not happy. Back to the thing, money does not make us happy. You have to have enough. But anyway, guess what she's done? She's gone back to school, graduate school. After 18 years as a lawyer, she said, it's not my purpose. I want to help people. I don't find, for me, now, first, not saying lawyers are bad, but for her, it didn't fit. So she, like students here, we talked about where do we fit? It took her 18 years as a lawyer to figure out this is not for me. So she went back to University of California. She got a master's degree from Marty Seligman. Perhaps some introductory psych. You remember, he's the one who started this whole field of positive psychology. And now she's getting her PhD in positive psychology. And she came out here to learn about what are we doing? How does behavioral science fit with positive psychology? So she's made it her purpose to learn more about it and then to share it with us. She's written a book. She's written a book called Positive Organizations. How can we bring positivity into organizations, which connects to much of our conversation here. So I think that story is relevant because, again, it took her 5 years of law school, 18 years as a lawyer to realize I'm not happy. But you know what's happening to our culture? We get these billionaires in our face, you know, like, right. Okay, and you know, and you get
living it up.
Yeah, living it up, and we see all this great life, and then we have billionaires, Starbucks wants to be president, and so we get money thrown in our face all the time.
Especially with like social media.
There you go. And so all of a sudden we think, whoa, I want to make a lot of money too. And then when we don't, when we're not making it, imagine the frustration, those people who are barely making it, and they see every day on TV these ultra wealthy folks. I mean, yeah, it can put money on the top of the hierarchy rather than purpose and happiness. And by the way, I've had opportunities to work with all of these companies as a safety professional, as a person who brings psychology into the workplace to help workers keep each other safe. Notice how that fits the purpose of Actively Caring. So taking our message of Actively Caring into the workplace is kind of a big deal. And of course, what we're talking about here, if the world just could get it, you know?
Yeah, especially when work is like the majority of your life, you know, like I think it's best that you're in an environment that you can truly just, you know, be yourself and express yourself how you want to. And
perhaps that's the most important thing that's been said here today, because we're talking to students who are spending 4 or 5, if it takes 6 years, spend it. Take the time to find out what's for you. I have students now, super students, and they're not going on to graduate school right away. They're taking a gap year to find themselves. You know, they want to go on to postgrad. They want to go to maybe medical school, but they don't know yet. So the deal is to find yourself.